In a world where everyone seems eager to be heard and draw attention, the Sigma male stands out for his unexpected and unshakable approach to conflict. He's not someone who shouts to demand respect or relies on manipulative tactics to assert himself. Instead, he handles situations with a coolness and strategy that few understand but many envy. So what happens when this reserved and enigmatic man is pushed to his limits? His reaction is a mix of firmness, silence, and unbreakable boundaries that, far from being obvious, shake and confuse those around him. From Official Sigma Male, we aim to uncover these peculiar reactions that make a Sigma such a mysterious and respected figure. By understanding how he acts when cornered, you'll learn valuable strategies to preserve your peace of mind and strengthen your relationships, whether in personal or professional settings. If this content resonates with you, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel to keep exploring the secrets of Sigma behavior and learn how to bring that same powerful calm to every area of your life. Direct confrontation, without sugarcoating. When a Sigma male is pushed to the limit, his initial reaction can surprise many. Unlike others who might avoid conflict, the Sigma addresses the situation head-on and without embellishment, making his position clear. He doesn't resort to games or hints. His style is clear, precise, and direct. Imagine the difference between someone who throws subtle hints and a Sigma who looks you in the eye and says exactly what he needs to say, without beating around the bush. For some, this can be intimidating, but in reality, it's an act of respect for transparency. At the same time, that frankness isn't harshness. It's a well-thought-out strategy to resolve the conflict at its root, preventing issues from building up. Imagine how you would feel if someone spoke to you with this clarity. It might sting initially, but you'd know exactly where you stand. A Sigma man knows respect isn't earned by avoiding conflict, but by facing it with honesty. That's why he takes the time to speak, making it clear that when he says something, it's with full intention and not out of a desire to offend. Furthermore, the Sigma isn't afraid to make others uncomfortable, as his goal is to protect his internal peace. This attitude shows those around him that he doesn't tolerate manipulation or emotional abuse. In the workplace, a Sigma who firmly defends his position can shift the team dynamic, earning respect even from those who initially underestimated him. This clarity in his boundaries sets up a barrier that only the sincere can cross. His reaction to conflict leaves a lasting impression, prompting others to reflect on their own behavior. That unembellished firmness generates admiration and even curiosity. Who wouldn't want to know how someone can maintain such emotional control? This reaction is just the beginning of a series of unexpected responses that follow when the Sigma faces extreme situations. The illusion of control. Another unexpected reaction from a Sigma male when he feels cornered is his ability to appear as if everything is under control, allowing others to believe they have the upper hand. Instead of showing himself as reactive or impulsive, the Sigma opts for a silent and meticulous strategy, observing every move without revealing his cards. This skill allows him to study the intentions of those around him while maintaining his calm. Like a chess master, who, although not moving his pieces immediately, always has a calculated move ready for when it's time to act. This apparent submission to others' control is a strategic play that allows him to buy time and gather valuable information. Through this tactic, the Sigma reveals little about himself, protecting his vulnerability and allowing others to reveal their true intentions. Imagine how powerful this skill is in the workplace. A Sigma who appears to follow orders without objection could actually be planning a strategic change that will catch everyone off guard when they least expect it. However, this strategy isn't easy to detect, as the Sigma avoids open confrontations and prefers to keep his reserved stance. Even those who try to manipulate him end up ensnared in their own traps by underestimating the Sigma's resilience and calculation. Instead of wasting energy on unnecessary fights, he prefers to wait for the right moment to intervene with precision, showing that control was never really out of his hands. This combination of patience and cunning is what makes the Sigma stand out. Those around him start to question if they truly have control or if, deep down, they've been observed and studied every step of the way. With this enigmatic air, the Sigma opens the door to a reaction even subtler and more disconcerting, which we'll explore in the next topic: cutting ties without hesitation. When a Sigma male feels that someone has crossed his boundaries or betrayed his trust, he doesn't hesitate to cut ties quickly and definitively. Unlike others who might cling to toxic relationships or try to fix hopeless situations, the Sigma prioritizes his mental and emotional well-being above all else. His way of acting can be surprising to those who don't understand this firmness, as instead of holding on, he walks away without drama or resentment, closing the chapter without looking back. For a Sigma, cutting ties is an act of self-respect, a reminder that his boundaries are unbreakable. It's not that he doesn't value relationships, rather, he understands that a connection based on manipulation or lack of sincerity doesn't deserve space in his life. Imagine someone who decides to end a friendship that brings nothing positive. It's like clearing the ground to make way for something more authentic. This act of release allows the Sigma to move without baggage, leaving room for more genuine and enriching connections. This ability to cut ties without falling into emotional drama sets him apart from many. Instead of seeking explanations or second chances, the Sigma understands that some relationships simply aren't worth the effort. So he makes decisions without hesitation, acting like a surgeon who precisely removes what no longer has a purpose. This attitude generates respect and even a certain envy, as few possess the courage to let go without being dragged down by nostalgia or fear of loneliness. With every bond broken, the Sigma becomes stronger, more aware of his worth, and more selective in his future relationships. Those who have been part of his life are left wondering how he could cut ties so easily, and that very question paves the way for a new and powerful reaction that we'll explore next. Silence as strength. When a Sigma male finds himself in a tense situation, rather than exploding or reacting impulsively, he opts for a deep and strategic silence. This silence isn't a retreat, but a calculated pause to analyze every detail of the situation, understand his own emotions, and prepare an appropriate response. For the Sigma, silence is a powerful weapon that allows him to maintain control without revealing his hand, generating a mix of intrigue and respect in others. The power of silence gives him an advantage in high-tension moments. While others seek immediate answers or explode emotionally, the Sigma prefers to observe and reflect. This translates into an inner strength that sets him apart. Like a monk in the midst of a storm, he remains unshaken. Can you imagine the peace someone might feel, knowing they don't have to react to others' provocations? This is a practical example of how the Sigma uses silence to protect his peace, while also unsettling those who expect a predictable reaction. Additionally, this silence is a form of indirect communication, saying much without words. By not responding immediately, the Sigma forces others to confront their own actions and reflect on their behavior. In a family or romantic context, this reaction can be particularly impactful, as it compels the other person to consider if they've crossed boundaries and reevaluate their stance. Thus, the Sigma doesn't need to raise his voice to make his boundaries clear and respected. This enigmatic silence is just one phase in his response, a pause that announces an even more strategic reaction. Those around him start to sense that this silence is merely the calm before a calculated action. Here the Sigma sets the stage for his next move, a careful observation we'll dive into in the following topic: Cautious forgiveness. Unlike those who forgive easily and quickly forget, the Sigma practices a kind of forgiveness that might perplex many. He forgives, but never forgets. His forgiveness isn't a license for others to repeat their mistakes, but rather a silent warning that he's keeping his eyes open. He grants a second chance, but he doesn't ignore red flags. His forgiveness is, at its core, a constant evaluation of his surroundings, a decision to move forward without letting down his guard. This selective forgiveness becomes a powerful tool in his relationships. For him, moving forward doesn't mean giving someone the same space or trust they once had. His forgiveness is a way to free himself from resentment without compromising his emotional safety. A Sigma might, for example, forgive a friend who lied, but that doesn't mean he'll share the same level of trust as before. The relationship adapts to a new reality in which the Sigma has learned and adjusted his expectations. For this reason, his forgiveness often leaves a lasting impression on those who receive it. Others understand that while the Sigma forgives them, they no longer have the same freedom as before. This can be intimidating, as it implies that the Sigma has taken note and won't hesitate to act if the same pattern repeats. In a work setting, for instance, a Sigma who forgives a mistake won't forget the details, which encourages his colleagues to avoid making the same error. This form of forgiveness is yet another sign of his ability to protect his peace and keep his environment controlled. Those who interact with him begin to see forgiveness as more than an act of kindness, soon realizing that this Sigma, although he forgives, always keeps a close watch. This constant vigilance preludes a silent withdrawal, which we'll examine in the following topic. Silent disappearance. When a Sigma male senses that a situation or relationship has reached a point of no return, his reaction is as unexpected as it is effective. He fades away silently. Without confrontations or dramatic explanations, the Sigma simply withdraws, prioritizing his peace and well-being over any attempt to resolve the unresolvable. This subtle retreat, far from being an act of cowardice, reflects his conviction that it's not worth investing energy in something that cannot be fixed. The silent disappearance can be disconcerting for those who don't see it coming. Imagine working alongside someone and suddenly noticing that the Sigma has stopped participating or engaging. This distancing is no coincidence, but rather a calculated decision to avoid unnecessary drama and maintain his tranquility. Instead of getting trapped in exhausting dynamics, the Sigma steps back to protect his mental health and move forward unburdened. Moreover, this retreat sends a clear message to those who attempted to manipulate him or overstepped his boundaries. By quietly removing himself from the scene without warning, the Sigma leaves others to face the consequences of their actions. In a social or work environment, his absence becomes noticeable, and those who once underestimated his value are forced to reflect. He doesn't need to explain his decision. His absence speaks louder than words. The Sigma knows that sometimes silence and distance are the best responses. His disappearance marks a before and after in the relationship, a silent reminder that he always prioritizes his peace. And with this retreat, he prepares for the final unexpected reaction, one that lays bare his boundaries without needing a single word. Silent boundaries. The Sigma male has a particular way of establishing his boundaries, one that surprises with its subtlety and effectiveness. Instead of imposing them with words or warnings, he allows his actions to speak for themselves. His behavior reflects the boundaries he refuses to negotiate, and those around him begin to understand that there's a line they shouldn't cross. This kind of barrier, without a single word, is often far more powerful than any verbal declaration. This skill of setting boundaries through actions allows the Sigma to establish a zone of respect around him without creating unnecessary conflict. Rather than saying, "I won't tolerate this," He simply distances himself from those who violate his values or principles. Have you ever noticed how someone who steps away without explanations leaves a profound impact on others? That's the essence of the Sigma's silent boundary. He doesn't need to say something is wrong. His withdrawal is enough for others to realize it. Additionally, this unspoken boundary leads those around him to a deep self-reflection. By not directly confronting, the Sigma allows others to examine their behavior and draw their own conclusions. In personal relationships, this strategy is especially powerful. Those who seek his approval quickly learn to respect his values, knowing that any attempt to cross that line results in immediate distancing. The silent boundaries of the Sigma are a constant reminder that respect doesn't always need to be expressed in words. His serene presence and firm decisions offer a clear lesson for those who interact with him. This type of reaction perfectly concludes a series of unique behaviors that set a Sigma apart from the rest, always keeping his inner peace intact. After exploring each of these unique reactions, it's clear that the Sigma male possesses an admirable capacity to face extreme situations without losing control. His responses, filled with strategic calm and well-defined boundaries, are a guide for anyone looking to protect their peace and strengthen relationships without falling into unnecessary drama. Now, the question is, are you willing to apply these principles to your own life? Could you set your boundaries silently, protect your energy, and above all, prioritize your emotional well-being without compromise? At Official Sigma Male, we want this wisdom to go beyond just words. We invite you to reflect, and if you're truly determined to transform your life with these lessons, subscribe and turn on notifications. Here, you'll find the support and knowledge needed to continue building your character and facing life with the calm and strength that define a Sigma. Are you ready for the change?